Welcome back. Well, more problems involving water for people in Durban, where residents are facing ongoing water shortages. Some areas are going without supplies for weeks. School and businesses feeling the impact. Many are now relying on private water deliveries just to stay in business. Newzroom Afrika's Nobuhle Modise is in the Hillcrest area. Residents are calling for urgent intervention there. Nobuhle, good morning. How bad is it in that area?
A very good morning, Stephen. So a number of issues, and not just in the Hillcrest area, but around over 40 areas have been affected by these water outages. And from my understanding and what I've heard from the eThekwini municipality around the water outages, they did send a statement out around the 25th of January stating that Utugela Water is doing an upgrade on one of their pipelines due to Sandral upgrading the N3 freeway. So they've had to isolate that particular pipeline. It's pipeline 53, and as a result, this is what is causing the water outages. But seemingly, residents don't know about this information, and a lot of the frustration on the ground is from residents saying that they've been going to the municipality but not getting any answers as to what the problem is. We do have that statement, and we know what they're saying is the issue. I also understand that later on this morning there will be an EXCO meeting with the municipality as well as Utugela, where there will be a presentation around the water issues. You'd know that yesterday there was also a protest outside Prince Mshini Hospital in Umlazi, where they were saying there were water shortages at that particular hospital. But I am coming live to you from Hillcrest, a school called Highbury Preparatory School, and they've had to, find their own ways to ensure that pupils in the school have water throughout these outages. I'm going to bring into the conversation the principal, Mr. Lecoq, just for him to speak to us about what kind of measures they've taken and how these water outages have essentially affected them. Thank you very much, Mr. Lecoq.
Thank you. Yes, so we've had a real water crisis here in the Upper Highway area. We've got local residents that are very concerned, as well as our school, that there has been no water in the system and the taps for the last 16 days. So we really have been in a crisis management mode. We did see the article sent out by the municipality that the pipeway would be having interruptions to the water, but we weren't ready for having no water at all in our taps. And so for 16 days, there's been no water. We've been fortunate enough to get a couple of trucks from the municipality to come and fill up our school reservoir, but that hasn't been enough to keep the school going. So we feel the stress of the community, and we're very concerned as to how long this is going to be going on, because this is education we're talking about. This is young children who have the right to education, and we're really worried that the water situation is going to impact that.
And Mr. Lecoq, if this continues any longer, what does this mean for schooling?
Well, it really means that as a school, we have to be creative. We have to put in our own boreholes and become self-sustainable. And we've had a number of urgent meetings as a school to look into that. We have a large tanker on the property, which we fill up with local water. And then when the outages go, we are able to use that to keep the school going for 2 to 3 days. But long term, that isn't sustainable. So we need to, if the municipality is going to fail us like it currently is, we have to have a long-term strategy in place, which means probably providing our own source for water.
And just like many residents have been saying, have you received any response from the municipality with regards to your queries?
So we've reached out many times to the municipality, through the telephone, through email, through WhatsApp, and we haven't had any response, or just a general blanket response that they're aware there's a problem, but no feedback as to what the actual problem is. And that's our greatest concern. If we knew what the reason was behind the water and what the plan was, we could try and accommodate that. But at the moment, there's no end in sight, and we really don't know how long this is going to play out for.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lecoq. I want to bring into the conversation a resident who can maybe speak to us about, what kind of, challenges they're facing in their homes without water. I mean, water issues are something that we've been covering, Stephen, very extensively. And, residents have always said the same things about how this affects them. But maybe let me bring in Mr. Knowledge Vilagasi to speak to us about the kind of challenges they face without water currently.
Morning. So yes, it's been extremely frustrating the last couple of weeks, waking up and not having water to get the school kids ready, because I'm a father of 4 daughters, and then obviously they need to take water to school to sustain themselves. And then I'm a resident here at the school. There are children who are also resident in the area arriving not properly hydrated, and so it's becoming expensive to ask parents to contribute towards buying water when it's an actual right in our country to have access to free water. But beyond that as well, cooking at night has become a challenge. So the restaurants in the area also need water to cook the food that I'm trying to buy because I don't have water to cook in the house. But I mean, I can speak from a slight position of privilege that we can buy food and takeaways and whatnot, but there are many people in our area who won't be able to do that very much longer, especially myself as an educator. That's not in my budget.
A very important aspect that Mr. Vilakazi is bringing in with regards to, his privilege, where he's able to buy certain things. So you'd imagine in other areas where, people don't have any other means but rely on water tankers. Water tankers have also been an issue where they're saying the municipality isn't rolling them out enough. I want to bring in someone from the CPF in the area, maybe to speak to us about their conversations that they're having with the municipality with regards to water tankers and making sure that at present people at least have access to that. Thank you very much. Maybe speak to us about, as a CPF member, what kind of resolutions have you made on your front, and what kind of conversations you're having with the municipality? I understand many people saying that they haven't had any response from the municipality.
Well, yeah, correct. We have been, I must admit, the councillors have been pretty good. When you phone them and ask them, questions, they do come back to you. But I feel that they're not getting any response from the top. So they just kind of been put in the front to take the brunt of this. And yeah, as I say, I do commend them for coming back to us, but we just don't have answers. And I deal with the upper highway as a whole. It's not just Hillcrest, it's Kwangalosi, all the townships and that. People phone me all the time, what's going on with the water? And there's just no answers. And of course we would go to the next port of call, which is your councillor, and he would come back to you, but with no answer. And then they promise water tankers, and then all of a sudden you get the message to say the water tankers, there's no diesel, so they can't bring a water tanker. So it's really, really difficult because we've got neighbourhood watch heads in this community which sort of head up a particular area. And as a CPF, we would then filter down information to them, and they kind of would have to take the brunt from their community because they would be relying on what information is out there, and there hasn't been any. So it's really hard because, as I say, once again, I must say that the councillors have got back to us, but there's just no answer. They haven't got anything from above them. So it's very difficult.
Thank you very much. That is a CPF member, and he's just speaking to us about the kind of challenges he's facing on his front. But also, interestingly, the eThekwini Ratepayers Association has threatened a protest action if they don't receive any information with regards to why these ongoing water shortages are not being addressed. As I mentioned, later this morning, there is an EXCO meeting with the municipality together with the Water Board, Water, where there will be a presentation where we will be given answers as to why it is, that number one, residents aren't being given this information that the media, for example, has access to, but it's not filtering down to the communities. And you would have heard there Mr. Vilakazi speaking to the fact that he's privileged. We are in the Hillcrest area. We will be moving around, going to other areas which are not as privileged to find out, how they are doing with regards to these outages. As I mentioned, over 40 areas are without water, and this includes Pietermaritzburg as well. There are some areas in the Umgungundlovu area that are also without water, and as it seems, Umgeni is not saying much on what is currently going on. The municipality saying that they're getting the information from Umgeni, which explains why it is that they can't necessarily give residents the answers that they need, because a lot of technical things are happening in the background, and Umgeni is the one that is supposed to supply those answers. So we will be attending that ESCO meeting, but we will also be going around to other areas where they've been affected by these water outages.